Hi, I'm Maggie,
Hi, I'm Grace, and this is
a very bookish podcast.
Welcome back to episode 84 and the first episode of 2023. It has been a while since we posted. Kind of took like a month and a half long break for the holiday season. Grace and I both super busy. Grace, work, family, school, all that jazz. Me, the exact same thing, holiday traveling and all that jazz. But we are back here for 2023, starting off the year strong with an episode together. Because I kind of just was like, Grace, can you do this episode? And she's like, yeah, I can do Thursday. I was like, perfect. And so I wanted to have Grace this episode. So here she is.
I know. It feels like it has been actually a while since I've been on here.
I think it's been since like October. Yeah.
I don't know that.
I mean, Grace is busy. We all understand that.
I am busy. I am busy with a lot of grown-up things.
I know. I'm going to be, when I graduate, I'm going to be like a grown up and I'm going to have like a real big girl job. I'm so nervous.
Yeah, it's not something I thought I would feel like. But then also it's because well, also when we started this podcast, everything was locked down, had so much time.
Yeah.
And then
Now
life
you
started
don't.
back up. And then it's just like, oh yeah, I remember why I wasn't really reading ever. I remember why I didn't really have time to do anything else. It's because I was always working. And now I'm back into that. I'm always working now.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's been
for
fun.
those of you wondering, she's still doing amazing graphic design.
I
And I don't know if y'all look on her Instagram at Make It Bookish and look at the New Year's postcard she posted for the Brutal Birthright series, which amazing.
mm,
It looks so good. I was so happy when you
yes.
finished it.
It took forever, honestly. I had the idea to do it a while back ago, and then I just never really had time. I would literally draw for like 30 minutes and then I would have to stop.
Mhm.
So that one. And then I have like a Christmas one that I never posted.
Mhm.
And the Christmas one is for like Adam and Olive for the Love Hypothesis. And I drew that one specifically because of Pauline. I
Mhm.
actually posted it on my Pinterest. So if you go to my Pinterest, you can see it.
We will link it in the description for y'all to go look at. So,
It's on there, so that'll be fine. And yeah, we're trying things. Right now, I'm actually in a shift. I don't know what you would call it. I'm just changing up how I'm doing drawing things.
mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
been fun.
I mean, I still haven't gotten my Steam box yet for winter, but I'm excited because you did the cover art and
Did
for which
art.
I'm so excited to have.
Yeah, it was a definitely a different experience. Um, I really liked it too because it was hard because like the style that the authors wanted wasn't something that was necessarily my style.
Mhm.
And so then I ended up having to like shift it into trying to do my style.
Mhm.
But then we were on such a time crunch, and it was mostly because like the publishers with the template and like the sizing, it just took forever for them to get back to us, which was, it makes sense. Like November, December, that's really like,
Crunch time.
yeah, and like everybody's like scrambling and all of these things. So it was just, we started so late because like nobody, the people that we were in contact with, me and Melissa, they just didn't have like a set template for sizing of the cover, which you need as a graphic designer to know what you're doing so that
Yeah.
it comes out proportionately. Because that took forever, we lost like months
Yeah.
of like designing process. And because we lost those months, towards the end, it became super rushed. And it it looks great. but it could have been better.
Yeah. I mean, like, I always love Grace's work, and I'm always gonna hype up Grace. So, like, for me, I know Grace's process, and I know she's like, I saw all the behind the scenes, which I'm not gonna reveal those secrets, but I'm so glad to have a piece of Grace's artwork in my apartment, because I'm definitely gonna take off the dust jacket and hang it up behind me. So y'all will see.
And it's funny because like I did that side, and then I also did an alternate for like the back side, because they said they were thinking about doing another side, a dual side. But then after reading the book, the the design I did for an alternate inside or reverse side was a little too sultry for the book itself. And then I realized like, this is not the vibe of the book at all. Which I hate. So I was just like, you know what? I don't know if the inside cover is gonna work with this design. Which ends up working out fine, because then they were able to find somebody and I was able to focus on just like the cover I was doing. And so we had someone else do it, and that cover looks so cute too. I love that style as well. So it was really fun to work on and to do like a special edition, which is crazy because like I remember we used to talk about that on here, about doing special edition covers, which
For
is
when we were gonna write our book.
yeah, it's just insane. So, and that was my second special edition cover.
Yeah.
Because my other one, Chances, is the comic book version cover of by Lee Duquo. And so she did two versions of her book, which her book series is called Divine Corruption. And that cover is like, it has like a regular cover, like a, you know, romance dark cover, and then the other one is like comic illustrated.
Yeah, it has like an illustrated cover and then a discrete cover is what I would say the second one is. Which the illustrated cover is delicious. Like, oh.
Because I still have all of it like in here packed. I haven't taken it out of my book because I haven't put it on my bookshelves. Because I just haven't had time.
Yeah. Grace has been a busy girl.
So this is like back up.
The mic.
This is the comic book cover. And it looks like a comic book. Like even my brother, when he like looked at it in the end, he was just like, oh yeah, it looks good. And like, so I did everything on this except for like the font and the type. So that wasn't me. But the illustration, the cityscape behind it, the coin, all of that is me. And so of this book series, there's going to be 5 books, which I have already submitted the second cover for like the second character. And all of the characters, all the covers are going to be in one.
It's like it's like the Percy Jackson box set where you can put all the covers together.
So you have behind, because like it all takes place in one city. So all of the covers connected, like laying next to each other, is going to be the whole cityscape behind it. Like that's their city, and they're just like walking towards you. And then I was able to do this art print for it for the first book, which was like a spicy scene, and it was a comic panel. Do you want to see? I don't know if I could show that, because that's very
I don't know, because YouTube has like, they're like,
here. We'll
you know what?
Cover.
Did she post it on her page, or did you?
She did. She posted it on her Instagram.
We can link it.
And it was fine.
Oh, jinkies.
But she posted it on her Instagram story and it was fine. But then when I posted it on my Instagram story, it got removed.
Did she post it?
You can see this part at least. Okay. You can see this part. Yeah.
So good. Ooh.
You can't see the other 2 parts because there's fingers in places that you shouldn't be able to see. Well, this one you could see kind of. She does pottery, so you can see that part.
So
Oh,
good.
wait. I wasn't covering the top part.
Like when I tell you
Okay.
guys, Grace has been putting out amazing work recently. She's been putting out amazing work recently.
But this one was really fun to do because like it was like comic book style, which is what I really like. And then,
Yeah.
like a bookmark. And that
You,
was really cool.
you
So
really
that has been
thrive.
my favorite.
You
Yeah,
thrive on that.
because that is my style, you know. Airbrush is not really my style.
Yeah.
But I'm in a a mode of developing my style right now. So right now is a lot of sketching. But
I mean,
that's done.
just think at the end of the year what you're putting out now versus at the end of the year. Like I see those like 5-year transformations and then like the 1-year ones and like even 1 year later it's like completely different. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to see what you produce this year.
me too. It's gonna be something
Yeah. So kind of
special.
Grace gave y'all a little update on what she's been doing. I'll
I
update
know.
you guys. um yeah, I'm in my last semester of grad school, which is I literally have 1 semester left, so I'm pushing through. Sangria is my best friend now. And so is the game Sims. I have been playing Sims. Uh, don't ask me about reading. We'll get to that on our reading goals. We'll talk about that. But I have been starting to stream a little on my YouTube channel for a fictional gal and Twitch of making book characters on Sims. So if you're ever interested in joining me on Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday nights, I'm there 6 p.m. Central Time to maybe 8 p.m. because I go to bed at like 8:39, um, which is ridiculous for a lot of people, but I'm starting to get 10 hours of sleep and it has been a blessing for me. So I'm trying to rack up on sleep now for like the second half of the semester when I'm sleeping like 4 hours.
Mm.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I got a beta fish. I don't know if y'all can see like in the background. I have a little fish tank right here. Got a beta fish. And you might also know my setup is a lot different now. I removed all of my desk from my bedroom and moved it here. And then I put up like all of my sexy prints and all of my prints and my bookshelves. And so this is kind of like my
Mm.
streaming podcast background. I did this at 3 a.m. in
I
the
can see
morning.
the Megan Quinn one.
Yes, right
I
here.
can see the Megan Quinn one. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is this one's Megan Quinn. This one's the Mia Sosa.
Mhm.
This one and this one are Kennedy Fox. This is Heart Principle by Helen Huang. And then this one is also another Mia Sosa. And then I just have like random ones from fantasy books that I've had for a while. And then I have like my Rowan ones. So I don't have my Rowan shrine anymore. It's all over here. But so yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to. I redid the podcast. Kind of the vibe of the podcast. I felt like it's been 2 years almost. It's been 2 years now since we've had the podcast. So I felt like it was time to like revamp it and kind of give it more of a bookish vibe. I felt like, because I know we did the nighttime vibe of like the neon lights and stuff, and I was like, I feel like I need a more like simple, minimal kind of vibe for the podcast.
Mhm.
And so I like switched it up, which I did it all myself, which I was so proud of myself for doing. Because
It looks really nice.
it does not look good. It does not look good.
It
But I
looked
was like,
really nice. It was very earthy and like uh not
even Grace is
clay,
having a
like
hard
not
time.
no, not clay. I was gonna say terracotta, but it's not terracotta. It's like a
It's
what's
like a
the ceramic-y. That's what it
yeah,
felt.
it's like a green, blue, pink, gray vibe that I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can see on our like new banner, it says, I think it says we like reading sexy books. That's our like new banner for YouTube and like our all on Spotify it's all new. All of our new thumbnails will be new from now on, not the old ones. I'm not going to go back and redo all those old ones. It's you can kind of see clearly where we're kind of progressing and going into the new vibe, which leads me into kind of the new structure of the podcast. So I kind of learned from 2022 of we will not be able to do a podcast every single week. we just can't. Both Grace and I cannot do that. Even I can't do that alone. And since Grace is also really busy, I decided to trim it down to bi-weekly episodes. So every month I'll release out like the schedule of what days are the podcast. And then we also have live streams. So we're going to be live streaming on our YouTube channel, a Very Bookish podcast. And those live streams are just going to stay on YouTube. So if you try to look for them on like Spotify or something, they're not going to be there. They're YouTube exclusive. So you can check those out. I will have some guests. Sometimes it'll be me. I'll hopefully have some other influencer guests with me, and we can just talk and chat and kind of that more casual vibe of chatting with people and like talking and kind of getting to know everybody. And it's like a podcast but live, but it's only YouTube exclusive. It's just a live stream. It's just a live stream, and so that's what also I kind of added because I wanted to keep up with like posting on the podcast at least, but also elevating it a little bit to giving more content because I did decrease 2 episodes a month. So that's kind of like what, and episodes are now going live at noon Central Time. So that's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's kind of a little update on everything with the podcast and with me. And so, yeah, that's how my life has been going. It's been kind of stressful. Yeah. Last semester of school, I'm just powering through. I'm getting senioritis. I got it at the end of the last semester. I'm just pushing through this last semester, and then I'm going to be moving to LA, and I'm going to be closer to Grace. I visited Grace.
Still far away, but close enough.
Still far away, but like I'm in the same time zone now, and at least I'm in the same state.
Yeah, same time zone, same state. That's a major step.
That's a big step. And I already like I thought it was so funny because I was like I already basically like talked to Grace in Pacific time as it is. So it's gonna be great when we're on the same time zone. And I'm just like, Grace, this is this. And when I saw her over winter break, got to see her. My family and I took her out to dinner.
Which is funny because your mom like literally called like not she literally like put it out like we see each other once every 6 months.
Yeah.
Which is very funny.
It
and
is.
then I'm just like, no, it hasn't been 6 months. And I'm just like, oh wait, it has.
Yeah.
Which is very funny. I love that your mom knew that.
Oh my gosh, my mom is so thankful for Grace because she would not allow me to live in California if at least Grace wasn't there. If she at least didn't know, if she didn't know, but if she didn't know
nobody.
Yeah, nobody in California, she would not let me live there. So she's just wait, Grace. She's gonna be sending like Instagram reels and like she's gonna become Facebook friends with you. Like, beware. You'll get like 9 reels a day.
She's so sweet. I actually really, really like your mom.
Everybody loves my mom.
Yeah.
She's great. She's pretty fun. So relationships with my mom have been definitely better when I'm an adult than when I'm a kid. So
it's usually how it goes.
Yeah. We have more of that like motherly daughter vibe now than when we did. Because we could both talk about romance books.
Exactly.
Which leads me into our kind of what today's episode is all going to be about is our 2023 reading goals, which I have 3 reading goals, but these are some like fucking hard goals for me to try to do. Grace heard one of them and she was like, oh.
I was like,
She's like, I don't think that's gonna happen. And I'm gonna pressure myself.
We'll see. Go ahead.
So my first goal for this year is to read more Kindle Unlimited books.
Which is doable. It's doable.
Which is very doable. Because like I wanted to read Kindle Unlimited books, not just for not having to spend money on books, but also like when I recommend books on my book talk, like Kindle Unlimited is a lot more accessible than people just buying the book. I feel like a lot of people now on book talk do have Kindle Unlimited. And that usually makes it easier for people to find it instead of having to like go and purchase it and wait for it. They can just search it up on Kindle Unlimited and add it to their library. And so that was kind of one of my things was being able to take my Kindle with me too is something that I was like, this might be better because then I'm able to read more if I have just my little Kindle with me.
Yeah.
So that was my first goal. My second goal. This is the one where Grace was so sketched out. She's like, this is not going to happen. Like, she's going to fail. Grace called me out. She's like, you're going to fail. She didn't say that, but she was like, she was thinking
Yeah.
it. She was
I'm
thinking
like,
it.
I didn't say that.
But
That
she was
sounds harsh.
she was thinking it. She was thinking it
I
because I
was
haven't.
being realistic.
Okay,
Can we
that's true.
say that? I was being realistic.
Yeah,
on
she
it.
was. So my second goal for 2023 is to buy less than 10 books in 2023,
Yeah.
which that doesn't count like textbooks or books for school.
Okay.
So those aren't it. Which at the moment I have not bought a single book in 2023.
So far you're good. That's one book a month.
Yeah. And like I don't
and we're gonna cut this down even harder. That includes books that you give away or it's buy for other people.
Oh, so there's like presents? Well, then
Yeah.
I'll just buy people gift cards because then they can select the books.
Yeah. Okay, then that's fine.
Because like I thought like if my dad buys me a book or something like that, I don't count it because I technically didn't buy it. So that's my like, little get around of it.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah. But that's like my like I think that's my top like really hard one that I want to achieve is like I want to try like those no spend months because I am saving up to go to LA and I'm gonna have to get a roommate when I go to LA, which I'm already on like all these platforms to find roommates. So I can't afford to live in LA if I have a roommate. But I also want to be able to save a little because I will have a second job when I'm in LA for the weekends. Which I'm a receptionist now at a vet clinic, and I'll be able to do that in LA because I can just transfer there. But that's like my main goal to save money and to buy less books. So we'll see how that goes. Which means that Kindle Unlimited, that's why I can do more books on Kindle Unlimited because I'm technically paying for Kindle Unlimited. I'm not paying for my books. So that's how I kind of get around it with the Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
And then my third.
That also includes pre-orders for like bookish events. That includes books that you would buy at those events. Just keeping it,
Well, I don't even have
book. Understand that.
I don't even have tickets to Book Bonanza. So if anybody is listening to this and is wanting to sell their ticket to Book Bonanza, please reach out to me. Like, I will pay you more than what they're reselling. I will pay you more. Okay, I will literally pay you more than the $275 that it costs.
Girl, don't be saying that so loud.
I will pay
you. Well, not that low that I can't hear you. Still too low.
I will pay
you. Noise cancellation on your microphone is way too good.
I will pay you $350. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. I will pay you $350 if you give me that Book Bonanza ticket because I want to go with our friends. I want to go. I want to see my family too. If I go, I'm gonna be able to drive us around Dallas. I'm gonna be able to use my sister's car for when we're there, so we don't have to pay for Ubers and stuff. Please help us out. So that was like my second, and then my third goal was to read one nonfiction book a month. And so, which Grace is like, I don't know how you're gonna do that, but I technically can do this through school because my school some of my classes require us to read like extra books and stuff, and so I thought, I can get these out. And so I'm gonna start with some like there is one that I saw at Target, which is a popular one, The Art of Not Giving a Shit. There's that one I want to read, and then there's also like Single on Purpose or something like that, which I thought was like a very it talks about like choosing to be single and like really working on yourself and like all that kind of stuff before getting into a relationship and kind of like developing those like necessary like skills that you need as a single person so that you're able to have like a better, healthier relationship when you are ready to find a partner and stuff. And so I thought some stuff like that would be cool. I think there was one called The Body Keeps Score, and it talks about trauma and how the body like really holds on to trauma and how to let trauma go and stuff like that. So those were some of kind of like the ideas that I have of like books I would like to read. So yeah, so 12 nonfiction books is what I'm hoping, which I haven't started one this month.
And the month's almost done.
Actually, no, I do have one. It's called The Great Convergence, and it's about a
Doesn't
American
count if you're
Asian.
reading it specifically for a class. That doesn't
Technically,
count.
the class is over. I just didn't read the book,
Okay, fine.
so that technically works. But those are kind of, oh my god, my cheeks are so red. I've been drinking alcohol. That's why. um, but yeah, so that's kind of like my three main goals for 2023 of like I can do this. That's kind of my bucket of what my goals are going to be. Grace?
Okay. I realized a couple things last year. I realized that I'm not going to be able to read a bunch of books. I will not be able to do it. I had quite a big reading slump last year. I just couldn't find any of the books that I actually wanted to read, and then nothing was really just hitting for me. I had a couple of arcs that I had to read. I pushed through to read them. But it was just hard to keep up. And that also had to do with like me going back to like work and like, teaching full time and doing all of that thing. So it was really hard. And so then I realized this year that I'm not gonna set a reading goal on Goodreads or anything else. I'm not gonna set a reading goal. I just don't care about a number anymore. I know, and a lot of people have started to feel this way, but that um almost pressure to like measure up, to be on track, to have that number, to keep that going, um is a little bit too much more than I can give. And so I just really don't care too much about the number. Last year I read 35 books. 35 books. And I'm not unhappy with what I read.
Yeah.
Because what I read was like books that I actually wanted to read or books that I actually enjoyed. And so
Technically, you met our goal last year because we were like, we're going to be mood readers. We're not going to like, we're just going to read what we feel like we want to read.
That's true. We did set that. Like,
Yeah.
so we both like kind of were just like, we're just gonna start mood reading, which technically that is what happened.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to read a lot of the books that
I didn't,
I got,
I,
but
yeah,
then I did read,
I felt
and
that.
that's what that. Like the last couple days of 2022, I read two novellas like in 2 days, which those novellas,
The
those
one
novellas,
it's the Sarah Kate ones, right?
no,
Oh.
that I read this year.
Oh.
The novellas were Lee Jaco's Holy Nights novellas, which are like novellas for every holiday. And so far there's Christmas on the 13th Floor, there's The Four Leaf, there's Liberty Falls, and there's like there's one for like Halloween.
Are they on Kindle Unlimited?
They're on Kindle Unlimited. And they're so fast to read. And girl, those audiobooks too were so good.
Really?
So good.
Oh.
You know who did the audio? Well, first off, let me tell you the kinks for them. The kink for the Christmas on the 13th Floor was BDSM, which was like
Sold.
Let me get back to this because that used to be my thing, which I'm gonna go into that in a second. So that one was really good, and it was like boss assistant, and I want to say that he was Asian. I want to say he was Asian. His last name was Choi, and I'm just like, and there's no really physical descriptions. It's more of just like his presence that was described, which I kind of like things like that because it makes the reader like fill in the blanks herself, or their self. And I really like that. And the same thing with her. Well, she was a Desi. Desi woman. Well, she was half, I think. Her mom was white and her dad was Indian. and loved it. The tension, the command. Oh, girl. Anyways, read that one and I was just like, I need more of this. So I read The Four Leaf, which was St. Patrick's Day, and that one's Primal Kink. And I was like, am I realizing that I low key have a thing for this? And girl, the narrator, that one was duet narration.
Oh, I fucking love duet narration. Like it hits me in the core.
You know who the male narrator was?
No, I don't know any of the male narrator names, but you have to
No,
say the book.
guess. Guess.
Give me a hint. Two.
No, not a two.
Oh, a V? V. That
All
doesn't
over
help.
TikTok. All over TikTok. Just the voice.
I have no idea.
E.
Oh, Eros?
And
I
dang it,
noticed he started doing a lot more romance books.
yeah, he did. I can't remember her name, but I think her name is like I can't remember her name. I think it's like Lisa, but it's like the the other girl that like also works with him.
Mhm.
So they both did it. And it was so good. It was so good. I never thought that I would like Primal, but dang, that those two books were good. So anyways, those two books got me excited for reading. So when the year ended, I'm like, no reading goals. We're going on pure feeling. And
Mhm.
then because Tanya and the whole Small Squad have been obsessed with Sarah Kate, I was just like, you know what? Let me dive into those books, not knowing really what was going on in them, just knowing that they were really good and everybody liked it. So we start off with Praise. And we're probably, are you going to read them? Yeah, you are, right?
Yeah, I am. So you
Okay,
can't
so
spoil.
I can't spoil, but I can give like tropes and generals of the whole
I know that
the
one
whole
character's name is Maggie, and that kind of freaked me out when I saw that, and I was like,
bro, you're gonna love that book. Shut
am I gonna self-insert in that book?
Yeah, you can. You
Uh,
should. I don't know. And maybe it's not your thing, but I think you should. That one's Mercy.
what's the trope?
Reverse age gap.
Okay, I like that. Oh, so woman is
Dom,
older.
Dom and Sub.
So woman's.
Dominate Dominatrix. Sub.
Oh, okay. I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
Okay, so let me explain. Praise. Okay, yeah, Praise. It starts off the Salacious, what is it? The Salacious Players Club? Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's called. Salacious Players Club. And it's about these um three guys and this woman who work together at an event planning company or something, whatever. And then they decide that they want to open up a sex club. So then they do. And so every book starts off with this conversation that they have that essentially blossoms into this idea. And then it goes into the regular timeline. And which I kind of like because all of them have different perspectives of what happened that night. And that's that. So the first one is BDSM,
That's
Dom sub,
praise.
yeah, Dom sub relationship. But that book, I have so much to say about that book that I loved. That book made me realize so many things about myself that I had not really paid attention to before.
So, what I'm hearing is that if I read all these books, you will come back for another episode and we can do another episode in like February.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%. I
Okay.
will not, but you got to do it fast because if I become this obsessed because it looks like I'm going down the BDSM rabbit hole, okay?
Oh, okay.
So you got to hurry up because you're gonna dilute my brain if I hop into another one. So
Okay.
you better hurry up.
I will.
But
I
but the
promise.
thing that I will say about these books is that each of them have a different kink. So the first one is like praise kink and like
Mhm.
dom sub relationship. The second one is voyeurism
Mhm.
and exhibitionism. And then the third one is it's a M MMF relationship, polyamorous thing.
The second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the third one.
Oh, the third one. Okay.
And then the fourth one is the dominatrix sub.
Okay. Is that the one with Maggie?
Yeah.
So she's a doll. Oh. I kind of
But
like
it
that.
comes like the way that it comes, it's just interesting to watch. And so all of these people, they all have something that they're discovering about themselves and then discovering about their partners. And it explains each of these things. Like all of them have like some type of trauma that they're overcoming, that they're dealing with. And, you know, like there are dark topics that could have been, that's my one thing. There are some topics that could have been talked about a little bit more and dealt with a little bit more. But I understand, like, you know, maybe you don't want to take away from like the spice or whatever or the rest of the plot, which is great. It's fine. My favorite one is the first one. And surprisingly, the third one.
The MMF?
Yeah. Surprisingly, because that was my first one to read like that. I've never read MMF. I've read MFM.
For our listeners. Wait, it's MMF or FMM? Wait.
MMF.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've only read FMF?
MFM.
Oh, MFM.
One girl, two guys.
Well, isn't MMF?
I'm talking about the guys never. There's no sword crossing. I haven't read sword crossing.
Oh, and this one is
this
sword
one
crossing?
there is. And girl,
sword crossing.
So good.
Okay, we're doing an episode. We are doing an episode, but for listeners who are like, why is Maggie so shocked about this?
So I never read one before.
I read those kinds of books like Menages, Reverse Harem.
I'm a super monogamous person.
Yeah.
Well, no, I am.
Yeah, you are very
personally. Yeah. Like realistically,
and I think that
I'm a monogamous person. So I cannot fathom the idea of wanting to
I'm gonna read these.
Person there. That's just never crossed my mind. And it's just like I don't know how to be physically attracted to two people. Yeah. But in love with two people and want them to like share. I couldn't fathom that idea.
I do when I like after I read like a reverse harem, like I do think about that. I'm like, I don't know if I could be able to do this where
it's not for everybody. And that's not to knock people who can do that. Like totally understand. Like you could do that. Me, but like while I'm reading, I'm gonna like subconsciously hate one of them.
Yeah,
and I cannot give away.
I'm gonna have a favorite too, where it's like, and I feel like if I was in a kind of relationship like that where I had a favorite, it wouldn't be fair to the other people. So but I do love reading about love.
Feels like I can't get lost in the fantasy of it because my realistic like brain is like, I think you gotta pick one. You know,
I think that's the opposite for me because I can get lost in the fantasy because I read what the main character is going through and I'm able to understand that and like comprehend it from their perspective. But then when I step away from the book, I'm like, I don't think if I could ever do that. But like I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, I totally understand. Like I'd want 4 dicks in me. Like I get that.
Yeah.
But then like I'm like,
and it's funny because like the Wolf Hall Tales series, Teach Me, that book had a MFM scene, which I read. That was my first like menage a trois scene.
Yeah.
And man, that scene was so good. And I was just like, okay, maybe I could picture having 2 guys, right? Not loving them.
You were dipping your toes.
Yeah, but she did not like. It wasn't like a.
It wasn't romantically involved with both of them.
Yeah, it was like It wasn't. How do I explain this? It wasn't like that was the relationship. It was like a scene. It was like a moment. It was a phase.
It was a threesome. It was just a threesome.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. And so I was just like, oh, this is hot. This is great. I like it. And the emotional attachment wasn't there for me. So I didn't feel conflicted because I'm like, would I like more? well, I don't know, so I didn't have to, it was whatever. But then
Yeah.
this one, the way that they explained the dynamic and the relationship with each of them, like on all three sides,
Grace.
I fell in love with all of them, equally. Like I couldn't, I
Grace,
was just like, it
I
just
don't
makes
think you
sense.
realize how excited this makes me because now I can give you
Well, you
recommendations.
gotta slow your roll. You gotta slow your roll because it
Well,
comes with
no,
the
like
vibe.
I will give the caveat that I will like slowly introduce you into this.
Yeah, but it was like, it wasn't just like her in love with both of them. The main one was in love with both of the guys. Like the guy, they were both in love with each other. And it was a different type of love that
It was a true triangle.
made me, yeah, it was a true triangle. And they really made each other like realize
It was
we've
not
been
a
in love
fork.
this whole time.
It's not a fork in the road. It's a triangle. I will still be on that vibe of this is what a triangle is. They all three have relationships. They all three
Mhm.
love each other. A fork in a
So
road.
it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect for me. And I loved it so much. But praise was more like internal, like
Oh yeah,
me.
we'll
God
talk about
felt
that
that.
in the episode.
Well,
'Cause
yeah, and we'll get into that one later on.
yeah.
But that series, I just finished it like
You finished the
2 days
series?
as it is right now.
It's like
There's
four
six,
books.
yeah, there's 6 books.
Girl, you finished 4 books in 12 days?
Well, I finished 4 books in like maybe 6 days.
That's still like a record, I feel, for you.
Oh, 100% it is, because like I told Tanya when I started this book, I was going to hit the ground running, and I read through them and I sped through them so
Well,
fast.
you did listen, so that is a little bit easier than, right?
Yeah, I was listening to it, and I was kind of being bad because I was also listening at work when I was supposed to be like, doing other things.
Well, if you're doing like clerical stuff and just like you're not teaching at the time, right? You're just yeah, you're not teaching, you're not teaching, you're just doing clerical stuff.
Well, I was supervising. Does
Oh,
that make
then
sense?
yeah. Yeah, like I feel
Yeah.
like if they're doing stuff, then that's fine.
Yeah, that was
It's your
fine.
personal, it's like your personal, like nobody else is listening. You're fine.
Yeah, it was just like music in my ear.
Yeah.
That's all. It
It'd
was
just be the same as
definitely
somebody
not,
no, no,
yeah.
we're gonna stop there. It's
Because
def
like, and no, because like the scenes that I could listen to at those times were like the domestic life.
yeah.
Does that
But
make
like in
sense?
between.
But the interpersonal, the build up. But then
Yeah.
as soon as like it would hit one chapter, I'd be like, pause.
That's alone time vibes.
And I would
Alrighty.
have to be like, wait for lunch hour. But that this series was so good. I enjoyed it so much. And it has like kickstarted like me wanting to go into those. So that's why no reading goal, just going based off of vibes and going based off of like books that I always said that I would want to read
So
and reading them.
technically you have the same kind of goal as last year where you still want to be a mood reader. Where you
Yeah,
don't want
but
to have
now it's like fully embracing that with like no
yeah.
reading goal. Like my Goodreads, I don't have a set reading goal at all.
Yeah.
I literally am not looking, in February I'm gonna read this, in
Mm-mm.
March I'm gonna, no, I literally have no forethought of what I'm gonna read except for like certain releases that I want, like Lee Joko's like Cupid's something,
Mm-hmm.
which is gonna be her Valentine's Day novella.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading that because I really want to read it, but it's not like I'm a mood reader, but then I'm not also like shelving certain books
There are
for,
books you're excited to read, but you're not
yeah.
like forcing yourself. You're like, oh my God, that's coming out. I want to read that. But it's like if you don't read it right when it comes out, you're okay with it. Kind
Yeah,
of
I'm
thing.
also like cool with that. And then too, it's like a lot of the books that like Tanya and like Ofa have been reading or had read, and I always like, oh, I'm gonna read that because I totally trust their like opinion 100%. Um, and I was just like, yeah, I want to read that. I want to read that, and then I never do, and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of feel sad for myself because I don't read it because it doesn't have an audiobook, or I don't read it because it doesn't have like, I just don't have the time for it or whatever. But now it's been a while, and now most of them do have like the Filthy Rich series. I don't know what that series is called, but it's like the Serena Ackroyd series.
Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about.
That like kind of looks like the same as the Salacious Players Club. I'm gonna read that next. Right now, I'm actually reading like the Deal with the Devil, which is low key kind of like a slow burn. Which I did not realize. It's kind of a slow burn, which is fine. It's called A Deal with the Devil. It's by Elizabeth O'Rourke, which I've been seeing all over TikTok, all over TikTok. Mm-hmm. And that too, I saw that and I was just like, it's a sign. I'm talking about like I saw like 9 videos about this series. And I was just like, I'm gonna read it. So as soon as I finish the last one, I'm like, let's go.
Perfect.
So it's kind of going like that. If I see it, I'm gonna read it. That's basically what it is. If I saw it and I kept seeing it, I'm gonna read it next. You know?
Vibe.
And so then that's what I feel is more liberating to me, because I don't feel like, you know, oh, gosh, I'm not reading, I'm not an influence. Because for a long time, like serious shit. For a long time, I felt like, dang, I'm not posting. I'm not
me right now.
I'm not posting on Instagram or on TikTok, on my Pinterest. I'm not keeping up with reviews. I'm not part of the community anymore. I'm back to real life. Like this COVID and BookTok and Bookstagram, they were all like, oh yeah, the fantasy life, you know? And then going back to work, it's like, okay, now I need to grow up. Now I need to go back to work. Now I need to wake up and realize, oh, I can't be this, you know? And it felt really sad. And it was kind of depressing, because I felt like, damn, do I have to like delete my TikTok? Do I have to delete my Bookstagram? Is it just gonna go away? And you know, I don't even feel like I'm part of the community anymore. I don't talk to as many book people that I used to.
I feel that.
And it just happens, you know, like you pull away, and it's not because like you are doing it intentionally, but it just feels like, you know,
you get busy. You've been really busy.
Yeah. And so I felt like, damn, I'm not even, well, what am I still doing here?
You want to bring back the joy. That's why you're taking those restrictions away. Is you want to be able to kind of do what you want and post about, I think, probably what you want and what you've been reading. And
yeah. So now
allow that creativity to come back. Yeah.
Starting with like the Sarah Kate series, I've wanted to post. And I did post, and I have been posting for like a little bit. Like I posted like 3 videos, and that's good enough, you know? So I feel like I'm satisfied and like content with how I'm handling reading this year. And Kindle Unlimited, great tool. Love it. Use it. I use it now. Most of the books that I'm reading, Kindle Unlimited. But then if I really, really enjoy the book, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. And that's kind of where I am right now. Where like I had this whole thing yesterday. Like if you're reading Kindle Unlimited, my tip to you too is, when you're reading the Kindle Unlimited, make sure you flip through every single page that you read. Like I'm talking cover to cover. I said this on my Instagram, cover to cover, because your authors get read for every page you read on Kindle Unlimited.
They get paid for every page you read.
Yeah, every page you read, not if you read the whole book. They get paid per page. So flip to that first cover page to the end of the acknowledgments. Even when Kindle will pop up in like the rate the book and you mark as done or whatever, and the author's information, close that out, flip to the end, and like those authors get paid, because that's what it is. So I'm reading on Kindle Unlimited, enjoying the books that I want, and then buying the books that I really, really like. And then it's just that's all it's gonna be. Like I don't really care about much else. I really don't. I'm not pressuring myself to read anything, but then also letting myself enjoy reading.
Yeah, bringing back the joy. That's kind of what I want to do too.
because you lose it after a while,
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of people fall away from reading, which is fine. That's what happens. But getting back into it and finding out the things that really excited you into reading. Like, for example, the whole reason why I really, really like BDSM books is because my first book that I ever read was Twilight, which became a 50 Shades of Grey, right? Which was like the first, which was, I'm sure, a lot of people's first, like, first spicy book, right?
Not for me.
Well, yeah. But I'm saying that was like
much younger than you. Okay, I'm not that much younger than you.
I'm
If you
talking
really
about
think
the
about
people who know what I'm talking about. No,
I was a
all right?
Wattpad girly. That's what I was at that time.
And it's crazy because 50 Shades of Grey like started people looking for things and like going into Wattpad. Like there was a whole wave of going
Yeah.
back to Wattpad, and then the bad boy era of Wattpad, and then all of these other things.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of people's first books, and it came with like this whole thing of like the BDSM romances coming through, cycling through, and I realized that I really liked those books.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny now because the books that I have really been excited about reading lately are those types of books. So it's also finding about like what your reading joy is and what
Mm-hmm.
kind of dynamics you like in reading, and just kind of going with the flow. Like whatever you like, you like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's a good place to wrap up. So kind of Grace talked about her whole thing of kind of letting go, not setting those boundaries of what she's confining herself to reading. And me, I am at least setting some minimum for me and also not spending as much money on reading stuff. So that's kind of our goals for 2023. And we hope you guys liked this longer form of episode. This is probably one of our longer ones in the last couple of months.
It's talk a lot.
Because Grace has not been on the podcast, so she's really like informing you guys. So just think anytime Grace,
I'm reminding you guys
that she's here.
That's it. I'm reminding y'all who I am. Okay.
Yeah. But thank you everyone who has been here with us. Thank you for sticking with us. If you're still listening to us 2 years later, like kudos to you. I don't know how you stayed with us that long, but we really appreciate you. Stick to the shop. We will have things coming out regularly, hopefully in 2023. 2022 was a great year for our shop, so we're gonna hope to up the ante. Live streams for the podcast, bi-weekly episodes. I'm hoping to get some author and other influencers on. You might see some reoccurring guests. But that's kind of everything for today's episode. And we'll see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.